Where will you be in 5 years' time? Have you ever been asked that question? Do we like the question? No. Why don't we like the question? It's very, very simple. The question frustrates us. Because we have to think about something we can't really think about. We don't know what the future will bring. But somehow, we are asked to decide on what to study that will bring us to where we end up in 5 years' time. Isn't that a bit strange? Because the question really frustrates me, because somehow we end up with this question, not where we will be in 5 years' time, but more a depressing one like this: what I'm going to do with my life, you know? And it's a very healthy question to ask, and because you need to make something of your life, right? And people expect it from us. I mean, we are the chosen generation. We have so many assets. We have technology that really helps us. There's so many information right at our fingertips. Why wouldn't be the one that will solve all the problems? And today on stage, there are a lot of great young people that are solving these problems. But maybe you are sitting in your chair and thinking, well, okay, maybe I want to do something big in my life, and maybe the study that I'm about to choose doesn't really fit with what I want. And I have good news for you. You don't really need to worry about the future. One of my most favorite quotes is actually from Steve Jobs. I know, a bit cliché, but it's from one of his greatest speeches, which he gave to Stanford graduate students. People that finish their study and at the moment in their life where they have to decide on what am I going to do next. And this quote says, you can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking backwards. It means you can't really plan your life. You can only look back at your life and see how things went. Well, because of that reason, I want to help you to make something of your life. Not by helping you choose a study, but by giving you 3 little habits that you should have in order to get a better insight into yourself and get a better insight into the world, and make sure that you actually make progress. So, the first first habit that I've actually made one of my own, and when I look back connecting the dots in my life, I saw those 3 things. So these are very personal things that I want to share with you. The first and most important thing I live by is to always surround yourself with great people. And it might sound very obvious, right? If you are around with good people, you get a good vibe, get good influence. If you're around with bad people, you get a bad vibe. But there's one interesting saying which says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now think about the people you spend the most time with. Who are they? Have you known them for a long time? Have you actually went out and met them? Or did they just end up in your life because they are in the same school, because you're a family, or because they live close by? Right? Probably those people just ended up in your life because they're next to you in class, or because they live next to you, or because they are your family. So you need to think about steps you can take to actually meet new people and surround yourself with better people. So one of them is what Maaike shared earlier today. She talked about the Wednesday evening dinners. And this is a very interesting mechanism. It's something that's around every week, and every week there are new people, there are people you already know, so it becomes very easy to go there. It's not that scary, and you actually get to meet new people. So this is a mechanism you can think about. Is there anything that's repeated every week or month that I can go to, that I come a bit used to and actually meet new people? Events like this, like TED, are a great way to meet new people. But the thing is, we don't get taught at school how to meet new people. It's not a skill. We don't get taught how to network. So it's something you have to get used by. And so I can really encourage you to go to more events and start meeting new people. Or maybe even set up something like a Wednesday evening dinner yourself, so you can meet new people. I actually started something myself to meet new people. It's called Young Creators. And 2.5 years ago, I thought, okay, it's cool. I'm a young guy, I'm making websites, and I'm earning money with it, but probably there are a lot of more young people that actually are trying to build a company or actually try to gain a skill. And there were, I knew, I had 4 or 5 friends who did the same, but I thought there should be more. And then that's the reason why I started Young Creators. Just a small community where people can go. It's actually a Facebook group where people can go and ask questions and share experience or find someone to work with. If you want to build a web blog but you don't know how to build a website, but you can write, you can find someone in there who can build a website. So I started that 2.5 years ago, and right now there are over 5,000 young people in there. People like you. I should invite you into the group because it's a really great way to meet new people and to actually be exposed to what all kinds of other people from your own age are doing. I mean, it's so wonderful to see what's happening. You see white hat hackers that actually hack companies not to steal data, but to improve the company. Say you have a leak, you should fix it. Or people that are organizing events all around the world, or people that are making music, people that are producing videos. And it's so good to be surrounded by those people and see what they're doing. So make sure that you go out there and surround yourself with great people and think about ways to meet new people, because it doesn't come natural to really go out and meet new people. We just wait until people end up in our life. But maybe the first step and the first great habit is to make sure you meet new people and surround yourself with great people. So once you have gathered some new friends around you that are really inspiring and really motivated and also want to do something with their life, they don't know it yet, you don't know it yet, what's the next great habit to have? And personally, I found this very hard because I'd rather go to a cinema, but I built up a great habit, which is having great conversations. So what does this mean? It's very hard if you don't find a good or very interesting person that you don't have a really good touch with. What does this mean is if you drive back with a friend from a party and he drops you off at your home at, say, 2 a.m., or maybe earlier or later, obviously later, that instead of going to your home and going to bed, you end up stuck in a conversation that can last for 7-6 hours. Has anyone of you had a conversation like that, that you just can't stop talking? How did it feel? Good, right? You feel inspired. And that's the great thing about conversations. Well, something interesting happens when you converse, when you talk with someone. During the day, during your life, you gather a lot of information. You see a lot of things. Mark just told about all the information we're exposed to. But also, you gather a lot of simple little emotions because you see things. You get frustrated by what's happening throughout the day. There's something in the back of your mind that you should have done and you forgot what it was. And the thing is, when you have a conversation, something interesting happens. Because all these thoughts are floating through your head. Once you start talking, your brain starts making connections. So it starts to help you get little pieces together. And what happens during a talk, during a conversation, you actually get new ideas. And they're already were in your head, but you didn't know it. And this is what's happening when you are talking with people. And the great thing is, when you're talking with the same people over time, they will help you, and they will get to know you. So once you share a problem you're going through, or once you share a passion you have found out, they can help you and really steer you into the right direction and share some experience. Then there's another great thing with conversations. I mean, people go to psychologists a lot. And the interesting thing is only the fact that you go there and start talking always helps the most. It's just the fact that you start talking. It's very therapeutic. I shouldn't have quit my school too early. I've several companies. So one of the company I'm working right now is called Crowded, and it's a software company. So the people who work there, they're all 18, 19, 20, 21, not too old. They code. And in coding, there's something called rubber duck debugging. That already sounds pretty cool. But basically what it means is when a coder gets stuck in a problem, a bug, so the software doesn't work, they start talking to a rubber duck, and they explain to the duck why the code isn't working. So, okay, I see this, and maybe it's stuck here, and I don't really know. Maybe it's just because she didn't like me, or maybe I shouldn't have been this rude. I mean, now we're not talking about code, but this happens in real life as well. When you start talking to a friend, you also you also set different thoughts apart, and this really helps you to get further in life. So, for me, having good conversations and actually preferring having drinks and talk with people above going to a cinema wasn't really a habit, but it's a really good habit to have, and it's really good to find and see if you have certain friends that also love to have this long, very deep conversations because they help you a lot. And again, this is really a habit that can help you understand your own life, understand your passions, and it's something that isn't fit within the walls of a study, within the walls of work. So once you switch a study, you can keep having conversations with the same people. And it's really something that should be a basic thing in your life. The third and last thing is a bit more practical. So once you have found great people around you, and once you start having good conversations with them and start to understand what maybe your life should be like, or maybe what you're passionate about, and maybe they start spotting things in you. I see this a lot. Friends come to me and say, maybe you should do this and that, because I see you like it. Or in that conversation you mentioned it, so maybe you should work with someone else. Something I didn't talk about at all, but when you meet great people, you also start to meet the people that they know. It's called networking, and it's really good. I mean, if I want something right now, I can call a few friends that I know they don't know the answer to it, but they know someone who knows the answer. And this is a really great thing. Friends can do the same for you by knowing what you want and knowing that there's someone else out there that can help you. Okay, so we get to the practical part now. So you know you want to become a musician, or you know you want to make an impact in the world. You know maybe somewhere in the future you want to be a creative director at a marketing agency, or you want to be a CEO of a company that doesn't just sells product but also makes a global impact and really changes the way a company works. Well, that's a bit far-fetched, you know. That's years to go. So what can you do? Just make really small steps and learn from them. This might sound very obvious as well, but to be honest, it isn't something you will do by yourself, or actually that I don't do by myself. So back to Crowded, the tech startup. In technology, there's something that's called the lean principle, or the lean startup principle. What it basically means is instead of thinking out a product and just building it for a couple of years straight and setting it out there and seeing if the public likes it or not, you think about the smallest step you can make. If you want to organize a big festival, you can do that. You can spend a lot of money and a lot of hours into it, and you launch it and nobody comes. But you can also think about the smallest thing of the festival that you can do, maybe just one little event or one little party, to just see and test if people like it and if you like to organize parties. If you want to become a designer in the future and you're not sure if you like it, or not sure if you should do a study into communication or something like that, you can start with making a very small step. Okay, maybe I should just start writing a blog, see if I like what happens, see what happens if I interact with an audience. And in this way, you can find out more about yourself and really learn from the steps you take. So look at the bigger picture, look at the broad picture, some fake idea where you want to be, and see if there's a little small step that you can take in the direction and actually find out if you like it. 2 years ago, I sat with one of my best friends, and we thought about launching an e-commerce company, so actually selling something online, because we thought it might be very interesting and we could learn a lot from it, because there's so many factors to it. It has a brand, it has a lot of customers, logistics, And we thought, okay, maybe start a web shop. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who has thought about starting a web shop because it sounds very interesting. You can earn money while sleeping, right? So what can you do? So because I started this company, we actually did start an e-commerce company. A lot of people come to me and ask for advice. Okay, how should I start a web shop? And they say, okay, should I get a lot of investments? Should I find a manufacturer for my products? Well, all these things seem very legitimate. They might cost a lot of effort and money. So when we started our company, it's called Woodify, and we sell wooden sunglasses. We did not just spend a lot of money to buy our first stock, to buy hundreds of sunglasses. No, actually, we just spent a couple of, I think it was 80 euros, to buy 3 samples from a Chinese manufacturer. We took pictures with them on our iPhone, not an expensive camera and studio. We just hacked together a little ugly website. We didn't spend money hiring a designer or hiring a development team. We all just did it by ourselves, and while everything looked very crappy, we only spent 80 euros to launch a web shop. And we said, okay, if you buy it, you get a product in maybe 30 days. Because we knew, okay, if someone buys the sunglass, okay, we can send the email to the Chinese guy, and then maybe the sunglasses will arrive on time, and we can give it back to the people. And we actually launched it, and within just a couple of weeks, hundreds of orders came in. And we never had to spend a lot of money, and we never really went and thought out everything. We just made a very small step just to see and test and experience how it is to have an e-commerce brand. Right now, 2 years later, we have our own manufactory in India. We have people doing the web care and everything. And by little steps, we ended up at the big picture of what a web shop, an e-commerce company should look like. So the lean principle, you really should go on the internet and search and find out more about it. But it's also really something that you can apply to your own life, with everything you do. So especially if you're at the moment right now, where will you be in 5 years' time? I mean, it's really hard. We spend more time in our lives standing in front of the mirror deciding on what clothes to wear than we spend on really deciding what study we can do. And it's horrible because you can be locked in for a study for 4 or 5 years. It's kind of like launching a rocket versus driving a car. So if you build a rocket, you spend a lot of years and money, millions of euros, to launch a rocket. And once it's launched, it goes, and you can't steer it any other way. It goes from A to B. In one straight line, it goes to the moon. And you can't change anything about it. If it crashes, it crashes. Maybe you did something wrong. You build the rocket again and see if it works. If you drive a car, you just start driving. Maybe it takes longer to get somewhere, but you can go around the corner. If there's a bridge, you can go over the bridge. If there's a red light, you stop, you brake. If there's a nice drive-through, you can go there, get something to eat, right? It's a way other experience. So maybe you should think about how to get to your future in smaller steps. Can I get experience with producing music? Can I get experience with fighting for a good cause without having to spend all your time and energy and go through a lot of struggles to achieve this very big ambition you have? It's good to have big ambitions, but it's also really, really good to try out small steps, because through that you will learn a lot. It's way easier to know if you do something wrong if you make small steps. It's really hard to see if you do something wrong if you made a really big step. You don't know what part of your decision was wrong. Maybe you actually do like communications, but you don't like managing. So maybe you should be a designer in a communication industry. Talking about studies now, by the way. So it's really hard when you look back to see where you made a wrong mistake or where you made the wrong decision. So make small steps and learn from them. So that was everything I had. Go out there, meet great new people, have great conversations with them, and start making small steps towards your future. Thank you.